I'm just a pro trying to make it. So come ride with me. Hi everyone, so we are going to go over my ride today. We had an exercise in one of the videos I posted before on what we set up and how to measure everything and set everything up. But we're going to go over how this ride went today. So I was a little bit just rushed trying to get over. I had an appointment to get to today, so just kind of hurrying up. And that's the one worst thing is to rush your rides. You want to make sure you take the time for your rides so that you don't have any, mistakes or your mind's just not there. Always make sure your mind's in the game. So today I made a bunch of just bad decisions and poor judgment, and we have those days. It happens, so we don't get upset over it. I didn't get upset with him. We just kept going on. So started off my ride going over these raised trot poles. I like to just kind of keep those in the ring at all times. It just really helps them push up off the hind end and really use himself. As you can see there, gets a little bouncy and uses himself through it, really working the hind end. On that's up. Bella's saying hi. Bella, no. But stop it. We're just working those ground poles. We're going to go back and forth, change direction, and all that jazz. So I'm just waiting for him to kind of just relax through the top line and just move up to them nicely. And he does fairly good job with that. He likes the bouncy trot poles. That's just his fun game for him. But we just go back and forth until I like to do it in threes until I get really good going one direction 3 times, and then I would change the other direction. And that's what we do. So I just changed direction. He did it 3 times. Great that way. And that was good coming in. He really likes those. He really judges those. He really bounces up. And that's what we're looking for, the feel of him wanting to bounce up through that. So the camera likes to kind of blur out because the door is open. It's a nice, lovely, warm day. I started body clipping Harold, and I didn't get to his legs. I forgot how difficult body clipping really is. I'm not a fan of body clipping, but it needs to be done so he isn't so hot and we can get through our workouts without us losing our horse. There we go. And he was great through that. I think I can come around and do that one more time. He just really is kind of not wanting to move up and hold himself. He's always likes to, and has since we bought him, always like to kind of go inverted with the neck. But he does, like you push him forward, he will round back up that back and that wither and use himself. But he just kind of likes to always do that. Whoop, we got a little extra step in there. I can't be like upset with him about that. I should have came in a little bit better with a little more driving forward so he can get through it. But we don't get upset about that. We have flaws and we make mistakes. We learn from it and then we continue on. We lean back and he does it nicely. So I think, because he did it so nicely on this one side, I think I stopped and decided to go on and move on to the next exercise for that day. So we went ahead. I changed direction. He gets a little tight off his left side, so we kind of work on that. We pick up our canner. Just warming up the canner for a little bit. Everything I'm doing, I'm just keeping it nice and slow and balanced. Just want him to stay lifted up on the front end, not wanting to root down and pull down. Whoop, when we definitely missed our ground pull. That's sometimes that with him, it was like pick up the rein and he's like, oh, I'm going to turn, and like kind of overshots the turn a little bit instead of just keeping that smooth turn. And then he finds himself a little bit stuck like that. And that's just, we're not finding our distance there. Looking for the distance, and we're counter cantering here. That's not what we want. I was going to ask for a lead change, but we just kind of weren't balanced and weren't prepared. So I just went ahead and cantered forward, stopped and backed him up. Said, okay, buddy, let's kind of pay attention and listen to our ride. So I don't want to get after. There we go. And we saw it. And lead change. I don't want to ever get after them because he is such a good boy. He is a good horse. He tries his heart out. He jumps big and he's brave about the jumping. You kind of have to take steps and break everything down with him. I think a lot of the time is when these small little exercises are just a little too easy. He gets careless with them. He just really kind of laughs at them. And doesn't really put the effort in and kind of gets a little sloppy through them. So we just really kind of work on breaking all the steps down and keeping it simple for him. Lovely. So yeah, good 2 lovely rounds. I gave him a pat for that because I actually really like that one. The one before, we got a little deep into that ground pull, therefore he got a little deep on the backside with the hind end. Here we go. He's feeling a little more comfortable jump through. So it is on a fan. That jump line or the jump there is set on a fan. So if I come in a little too on the inside track coming into that fan, it gets a little short for him. So he has to put a little extra effort in there because it does get a little short. If I go a little wider, he gets a little more comfortable going through that. It becomes a little bit easier with him. And we went a little wider on this side and he felt comfortable jumping through that. And he's kind of a little nose up, nose out. I just let him kind of see the world. I'm not going to tuck him down. He's allowed to look up and see the world. I mean, he does such a good job. He still rocks back. He still sits down and still lifts his front end. He's not wanting to root down. I mean, that's one thing when we start jumping is he gets tired. So he starts to pull down and root down and drop his head. So we keep everything pretty simple. To keep building the muscle for the back, and so that he doesn't create. I'm a firm believer if you can stop the action before the action happens, then the action becomes non-existent. So if I'm going to work him and he's not wanting to root down, and I stop him before he starts to get tired and root down, then we're learning something from that. He's learning to stay elevated. Here we came in nicely. Just some balanced ground pulls, and then we cantered. He's playful. He likes to, when he gets jumping, he likes to play. I don't, get after him for playing. I like the fact that he has the ambition to want to continue and do it. So, I let him play a little bit. Because after a little bit, he settles down and he's not so playful anymore. So, and then we're coming again. And that was good. There we go. I came in a little bit forward and kind of kept going a little forward out. So I just kept my hands low. I keep my hands low at the wither and say, whoa, and ask him to come back. And when I halt, I want him to halt and stand, not halt and walk off. So I corrected him there. and he was good. So we did it off the left side, both sides. Now we're gonna go off the right side. We kept everything simple and short because we're gonna jump a little bigger tomorrow. I don't want to over jump them when I do my exercises with them. Whoop, you got a little strong, kept my hands low. Well, you saw I kept my hands low and I corrected, and then I just gave it a little soft release, and I made sure I didn't get left behind. That's one tendency I do, because he's so big, I get a little left behind because I feel like I have to sit and drive when I get bigger, jumping bigger, and I really don't. He can jump up to me. But I went ahead and gave him a little release, a reward up over the fence. I don't want to be holding on to him. I want to be kind to him. So I'm waiting for the ground pull. Got a little long, he swapped leads. And I corrected. I said, whoa. And he came out nicely through it and nice and quiet. He didn't like land and he didn't get forward with it. He was really good about that. So I'm going to end my ride with that today on him. So here we have a student riding through the same exercise. She comes in nicely. He came in great. Well, got a little strong. You can see there, he gets a little strong. He's been a little bit out of work, so he got a little strong with her on the landing. So these pulls are going to... So I remind everyone to subscribe to my channel so you can watch more exercises and what we do to work with our horses. So here he came in a little deep, landed a little strong, and she fell back. And that's the one thing we don't want to do, is fall behind when we're riding and pulling. But she hasn't ridden in a while and her horse is doing really well. So we're not going to get upset. That's just something we need to work on. Hands stay low coming in. And he went a little left with the shoulder, then landed on the left lead. So little things that everyone needs to work on is making sure they keep their hands low and have your horse come back. Hope you enjoy.